Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here with two wonderful gentlemen that are perhaps the heartbeat of Orbit culture. How you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a crowded room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots
of guitars, lots of gear.
Yeah. This is the space where it all happens, I guess.
This is where the magic happens, as they say in the MTV Cribs, you know.
Yeah.
Well, that's really a throwback. A lot of people watching this probably never seen MTV Cribs.
Yeah.
Yep. I have to start off by asking you guys, this is your first release with Seek and Strike. How did the relationship develop between the band and the label?
Yeah, it's been great. We were very nervous about signing something since we played for like, what is it now, 7 years, and this happened like 2 years ago, and we've been so used to
just having us
being an independent band, so it was a big step for sure, but those guys has been great to us and
really helpful in every way, so that's nice.
Yeah, we felt that we lacked a bit in the marketing department, and and those guys have the experience to help us, and we're very confident in the Seek and Strike for sure.
I feel like with you guys, your best marketing tool is your music.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah,
but you need to get it out there as well. So
yeah,
and that's been a lot of help from those guys in Seek and Strike. So that's good.
Yeah.
How do you guys look at the band over the last 2 years? Because to me, it seems like you guys were like this underground phenomena. And then suddenly from underground, you guys have moved into the well, not the mainstream, but at least the metal mainstream. And you guys are starting to really build this huge following. I know on our channel, like you guys are one of the most requested, one of the most popular bands.
Yeah, it's
sick.
Yeah, it's surreal.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's pretty hard to to get that to understand that still. I mean, we also see it, but it's still hard to understand it, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's pointing upwards all the time, and it goes pretty fast actually.
Yeah, it's great to see, and compared to like the audience in Sweden here, we're pretty, people don't give a shit about us.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that people outside of Sweden,
overseas
are really
and
taking
in
notice.
Europe as well. So it's bigger outside of our own country. So
yeah, sometimes things happen that way. We have a saying in Portugal that goes, in English, it goes something like, the saint that lives next door never does any miracles for you. So it basically what it means is sometimes you get more recognition outside of your own comfort zone, outside of your own territory than you do within your own territory.
Yeah, that's very true. Especially, in Sweden we're vad kallas det? Jantelagen.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. In Sweden, you're not expected to stand out that much, and when people do, they get kind of beaten down right away because of it, and it's only cool when it comes.
Fit the same glove.
Yeah, it's only cool when it comes from the outside.
Yeah.
And how was it for you guys moving from that independent feel in terms of working on your own music, not perhaps having a label to deal with, moving into a label now and creating this new album, Nija? Did that impact the creation of the record, or did you guys almost have the record finalized by the time the label came in?
No, we actually started to write it the day that we signed the deal.
And that part still feels independent. Because we decide what we want to write.
Yeah.
Or Niklas in this case, he decides whatever he wants to write. They doesn't,
They don't interfere or anything. They just they know that to get the best results, they just have to let us do what we
want to do.
Yeah. But yeah, for sure, it's keeping up with deadlines and stuff. It's always a pressure compared to when we were unsigned. But it
But
has.
that's also a good thing, though.
Yeah, that's a very good thing, because that's been a motivating factor for sure, that you have to do it. You can't just sleep all day. And
Yeah, you have like a goal. You have to fight for something.
Yeah.
Did this album offered any new challenges for you guys during the creative process and recording?
Not so much when it comes to the writing and stuff. It was more during the recording that I had tons of problems with computers, and alongside this, a member actually left the band in all of this when we signed the deal and stuff. So add some stress to that mix, and yeah. But writing the album was it went pretty natural, for sure.
It's gonna be harder now when we start to rehearsal the songs before shows.
Yeah.
Hopefully
that's when the real work begin.
Yeah, but that's also like a fun part of it all. So it's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel like the band right now, specifically now with this record, you guys have developed like your own signature fingerprint sound that, at least for me, I feel that way. When I start listening to one of your songs, I don't need to go 5 minutes into the track or 1 minute into the track. A few seconds into the track, I know it's an Orbit Culture song. It has a very specific style and approach. Do you guys feel like you've developed that style, that fingerprint that people are always going to be able to associate it with a band?
Yeah, hopefully. I think
You should do.
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's why I wanted to join the band, because I think Niklas writes amazing, cool stuff. That's really, as you say, they make. I mean, the sound that Orbit has is like, of course we take inspiration from other bands.
Yeah, many bands.
But still, it sounds really like Orbit culture.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean. And that's what I liked about it. Then I started to learn Niklas, and then I joined the band. And that was the whole part what I thought it was really interesting. So
yeah, I think well, we did Red Fog, I think, and people were like really getting into it. I felt like musically this is where we want to be and evolve, with the clean vocals, growls, whatever. But the influences are so strong, but together it creates another sort of sound, which I guess is kind of the Orbit sound these days. But it's the inspirations are like from a huge pile of bands, and we were like, we need that riff, we want that, just try to mash it together and write our own stuff.
But nowadays it feels more like bigger sound from the older sound.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more like a arena metal now, if you know what I mean, more than the earlier stuff.
Yeah. The earlier stuff were more towards straight death metal.
It was perhaps a little bit more raw, and now it's a little bit more defined. The sound, in my opinion, from the earlier stuff to this new record feels more polished. It feels bigger. The sound has more volume. It still has that grittiness to it, but it's not as driven as far as that grittiness is concerned as the previous records. The previous records were just more raw.
Absolutely.
I couldn't agree more. So you're right.
But I guess the mixing and mastering side of it has evolved quite a bit too during the years, and it's still a lot of work, but it's fun to do it ourselves. And I think the mixing aspect of it is almost as important to compared to the songwriting, to make it, because when you write a song and you have the mixing part is so important to really get it how you want it to be, and how you want to
get the good.
How you want to present it.
And that takes me to my next point, which is in terms of the album structure. I felt listening to Nija, it's such a roller coaster ride of an album. It's not an album that has a defined style, defined approach, as far as like peaking at the beginning, then have like a couple of softer tracks in the middle, and then kind of peaking again at the end. The more classic approach, if you will. This album is just up and down. Like you're just like pulling people in all different directions, which allows the album to be very dynamic and allows the songs to go in very different directions. It was that a conscious effort when you guys have all the tracks together and you're putting the track listing, finalizing the track listing. Did you want to give fans this sensation of up and down and always switching it up so that the album doesn't become repetitive?
I think the thing was that we had these bunch of songs. We didn't know how to put in, together in the track listing. So we actually had a small listening party
with some of our closest friends.
Yeah, and
that are both into music, that like playing music by their own, and we also had some friends that doesn't know anything about the instruments.
Yeah.
And even that's not into metal. So
where was my invite?
Yeah. Yeah.
I could have gonna fly over here, but this was due the Corona time, so
yeah,
that was probably gonna be a problem. So
yeah, that would have definitely been an issue. I would have to do it remotely.
Yeah, but we had like a ranking system for the people attending, and we just came down to a pretty solid list of how we want to present the album, and that's how it came to be, really.
Yeah, it's interesting that you guys went with that approach, because I always feel like the track listing sometimes is something that goes a little bit through the wayside. A lot of bands don't necessarily give it too much thought, but it really impacts the listening experience. Not if you're listening on iTunes when you're listening to tracks randomly, but if you're sitting down with the album from the first to the last song, I felt that this album was really balanced, very cohesive. It's up and down, but it's an up and down that allows you to really move from track to track and not say, okay, you know what, I'm going to stop now and go do something else. It has that continuous approach. You feel that way with the final results?
I wasn't sure actually when we first decided, but it's really nice to hear you say it though, because always you want to hear that people can listen to the full album. It feels like this is a new, if you know what I mean. So it doesn't feel like a splitted album. It feels like a whole entire album with a red line.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's really nice to hear you say that, because always it's hard to put the type like a track list on your own music, because you heard it so many times, so it's really hard.
Yeah, I think the only thing that we really decided was that we always want to have a one of the more hard-hitting songs at first, just to give people a punch to the face.
Yeah.
When they
doesn't think that we went soft,
Yeah. Yeah.
Once they listen to the album, I'm sure they'll figure out there's nothing soft on this record. I mean, it's not like you're going to get like a 7-minute ballad or along those lines. I put a lot of effort when I'm listening to a record into the track listing, because to me, listening to an album from beginning to end, it becomes important. I need to be engaged with the record. And the first time that I listened to the album, by the time I got to the end, I was like, wow, I don't know what to say about the structure of this album, because it's taking me all over the place. Every song is different. Every song has a different approach, has a different style, has a different delivery, but they all have the same elements on every single song. So it's almost like you guys had different recipes, but the same ingredients on every single track. And that created the album to be what I said in my pre-recorded review, which I haven't posted yet, controlled chaos. This album is like controlled chaos, because it moves you everywhere, but at the same time you feel like you know exactly where you're going.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Really appreciate it.
That's actually how a friend explained Slipknot genre to me once. He said like Slipknot plays controlled chaos.
Yeah.
So that's a good review.
Yeah, but when it comes to the softer parts and the harder parts, since the mix is just so into your face all the time, it feels pretty natural to just come down with a clean guitar part or whatever. It just comes natural, and I hopefully that will translate pretty good to the listener too.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 tracks that I have to ask you guys about that are not any of the singles. And the first one is North Star of Nija. I absolutely love that track. It's one of my favorite tracks on the album. How did you guys put that song together? I'm assuming it's one of your favorites as well.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, me too.
No,
it's Niklas who wrote it, so he's gonna have.
I think it was the day that I got my solar guitar. The first day that I got it and tried it out, and this, the intro riff just came to be in like 2 minutes, and then just evolved from there.
Yeah, it's killer.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I really enjoy playing that one. So
yeah,
I agree with you. This is really it's a really cool song.
Yeah, it's so dynamic. It's heavy. It's melodic. It has everything that when I think of Orbit Culture, that song is it's the perfect calling card because
Yeah,
it has
and the chorus is really catchy as well. It's
Very.
easy, you know, if even if you doesn't know the lyric, it's easy to know to hum with it. So
Yeah,
that's what I think about
It
it.
has a very catchy hookiness to it.
Yeah, really.
yeah, and that's what we're trying to achieve too, I guess. You know, I love big choruses or
Yeah.
whatever, and as much as I like some real
Hard-hitting
hard
riffs.
hard hitting riffs, it's just
Yeah.
nice to just come out and be able to sing some of the words, I guess.
And have a breather from the heavy-hearted riffs.
Yeah, and the other track that really stood out to me, outside of, we're talking outside of the singles, obviously, it's Mirror Slave. I felt that there was such a duality with that track. It was so interesting how you guys constructed and how you guys put that song together that it really stood out to me. I didn't find any other song on the record that had a similar pattern to the way that song was put together.
Yeah, I think the main riff or whatever. I just wanted I looked at like Sad But True by Metallica. I just wanted to have something similar to that. So that riff came first, and then I think I listened to Korn, Coming Undone.
Yeah.
With the guitar in the beginning. I just wanted to have something like that, and the pieces started to get together, and since it's a very slow song, for the good half of it.
Yep.
I just thought that would be cool just to up the tempo a bit.
It even has a maiden part in it.
Yeah.
Did you hear the maiden part?
No, but the funny thing, when he said "Sad but True," I started smiling on the inside because when I heard that song, I was like, "There's totally a Metallica feel here," and I'm like, "Where have I heard something similar?" I'm not lying to you. So what I did was I stopped the song, I went on YouTube, and I searched for two tracks: "Was Holier Than Thou" and "Sad but True."
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
And I was like, this is almost a little bit of a hybrid, has a little bit of a hybrid of those two Metallica tracks. Then I went back to your track and I was like, all right, it's not fully there, but I feel like it's coming from that place.
Yeah.
And then I continued listening to the album and I moved on. But I had to stop and go back because I was like, wow, this sounds very familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on exactly which track. But those were the two for me.
That's and I'm not even gonna lie about it.
We're not embarrassed to say that we love Metallica for sure. I mean, who doesn't?
Since I was like 10, coming online on YouTube, watching Sad But True live, I just knew that I want that too.
Are you guys ready for something heavy?
Yeah. So it's pretty natural, but yeah, it's heavy.
And speaking of Metallica, how do you feel about when people like myself compare some of your vocals with James Hetfield?
We do it in the band as well. So.
Yeah.
he's used to it.
Yeah, and as I said before, it's for me, since he's like.
But also, it's the way you sing. I mean,
yeah.
Then of course it's going to be a big inspiration.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
I
couldn't imagine you sing in another way.
No, and that's the thing. When I joined a talent show when I was like 15 or something, and the music teacher, she helped me sing a bit, and I started to use this like raspiness, and she was like, go with it. And during the same time, I really started getting into the Black Album, so I think that's where it comes from. And getting that people say that is like, for me, it's one of the greatest compliments that I can get.
Yeah.
Since
he's your biggest idol.
Yeah,
so.
and it's very obvious.
I felt that even in the last video, Open Eye, there's a moment there where you open your arms like this, and the guitar is just like kind of dangling down, and you're just like leaning into the mic. It had a little bit of a James Hetfield vibe to it. So I think if they ever need a replacement for him for a tour or something, they can give you a call.
Yeah.
Then this guy would probably shit himself.
Yeah. That's true. No, but watching those Metallica concerts for so many years, I guess it's just some
a big influence.
Yeah, it's a big influence, and it comes like unconsciously, I guess, especially in the moves and stuff. But the
Yeah,
voice,
yeah. I think when I say that, and I think everybody that says it like the way I do, we don't say that as a knock. We say that as a huge compliment, because growing up, Metallica was also one of my favorite bands. It's an iconic band, so I don't think there's any shame in that. Sorry?
No. It should be.
yeah.
I mean,
I don't think there's
Metallica
any
has
shame in that.
been a big inspiration for, I mean, every metal fan.
Yeah.
The ones who say otherwise, they lie. I mean,
And
Metallica has been a big inspiration for all bands out there that plays metal.
And especially when it comes to the songwriting, how they, approach that, especially in those early albums, it's 100%. Why not go with the, what works, but also put your touch on it. So yeah.
Yeah, and I feel that with you guys. You've really created something magnificent with this album. I really feel that your sound is there, even though there's influences coming in, like you guys said, you're able to create still your own signature sound, your own signature approach. And I want to go back to your vocals, because I felt that throughout the record you found the perfect balance between the clean and the harsh vocals. You always you seem to have this ability to go with the right style at the right time. Like, I'm listening to a song and I'm like, wow, man, some clean vocals right now would absolutely kill it. And then boom, you hit me with the clean vocals. And then I'm like, wow, you know what? Some really heavy, harsh vocals right now. This would really elevate this track. Boom, you hit me with those. It's like, I feel like you're there reading my mind as I'm listening to the record. You know what I mean?
Maybe you should come down to Sweden next time we write an album and write it with us.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about music. The only thing I know is perhaps a little bit of cowbell, and I didn't hear cowbell on your record, which is a little bit disappointing.
Music is still, it's also a feeling, and you get that feeling. So
yeah, and I think with your music is really easy to get that vibe. Like, it becomes almost the air that you breathe. It's something that's really easy to assimilate as a listener and vibe to it, because there's so much energy. It's so raw, and it's really coming from you. It feels like it's your own. You're letting us into your own personal world when we're listening to one of your songs. And I think with this album, everybody's going to get that feel. I don't know if that was what you guys had in mind when you put this record together, but it feels like an album that is really a huge piece of yourselves that you guys are letting people into your own world.
That's very true. I think we've never been, when it comes to the lyrics and stuff, we have never been that honest as we are now. We really, open ourselves up to put the stuff on paper, along with, put that with a huge wall of sound, and yeah, here we are, Orbit Culture.
Here.
Yeah.
First, the connection gets cut off because you guys are IKEA and the internet is horrible. Then I forget to press record, and we're talking for like 10 minutes, and I didn't record it. Oh my God, what a day. What a day. What a disaster this has been. Unlike your album, this conversation has been a train wreck.
Yeah. It's what it is, Sweden, Canadian.
I hate to repeat myself, and I hate to make you repeat yourself, but I have to go back to the question that I asked you that we didn't get to record it, which was about your vocals. So the question that I had was, does the process of putting the harsh and clean vocals comes in an organic way, or do you put some effort into it in the pre-production and when you're constructing the tracks?
No, it's just that when we write a demo, I always use a microphone at home with some distortion on it, and record some stuff whispering, and just play it back all the time to see if it should be growl or it should be clean vocals and stuff. So yeah, it comes pretty natural by listening to it a lot, for sure.
Do the guys in the band give some input on what they feel like? Hey, maybe you should change this a little bit here. Maybe you're going a little bit too Hetfield over here. Like,
we're not allowed. So
no, but yeah, it's been some instances that we felt like, yeah, you should try that instead, and you should do that. But
of course.
And then I get home, like, fuck, they didn't like it at first. Now I will do it better.
Yeah.
and
Like that.
then you start drinking.
Yeah.
Isn't that how the life works? You know, you have to drink away all the problems, right?
Oh, especially now with the world the way it is. I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but my alcohol intake has definitely gone up 100%.
I don't want to die sober, so.
Oh, it's the same way here. It's been blooming.
Yeah.
The alcohol consumption for sure.
Yeah, I feel your pain. It's been a horrible time, but at least we have something to look forward to. The album comes out August 7th. Do you guys have any plans for any live streams or anything like that around this time? Because I'm sure live gigs and tours right now it's not happening. So.
Yeah,
that's like the only shows you can do, right? It's like live shows. So we're not gonna do like a live gig. We're gonna record in our rehearsal area. We're gonna do like a live session just for ourselves. Then put it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But not gonna be live on YouTube. You know, straight away. So.
Yeah, we want to like mix mix it properly to put some value in it.
Yeah, make sure that the sound quality.
We're not gonna cheat though.
Yeah.
We're not gonna cheat though.
No,
we ain't gonna cut a lot of stuff. We're just gonna play, but we need to feel satisfied with it before we release it. If you know what I mean.
So you guys not gonna do like one of those live videos, but with studio audio. It's still gonna be the audio that you're playing at that time. Right?
Yeah.
Have you seen Trivium live at Chapman Studios?
Yes.
Yeah, like something like that. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So.
Especially since we've been a band and we haven't played that a lot of shows really. It was just we had that tour with Rivers of Nile last year, and that was like the first time we were out of Sweden playing, and it was for love at first sight.
Yeah.
So we really want to play, but then this Corona stuff came, and we will just have to wait. But we will absolutely put up some content online for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing you guys on the road at some point in time, even if it's not here in North America, because we're a bigger shit show.
Where are you from?
No, I'm in Toronto. I'm in Canada. So in Canada, we're actually okay, but our neighbors to the south has been an absolute disaster. It's like there's like an atomic coronavirus bomb that's gone off in the country there. So I don't know when touring is even going to be able to get going there. But I'm hoping that next year at least things will calm down enough that we'll be able to travel to Europe and perhaps catch one of your shows at some point. Because I just feel like the energy that you guys have in the studio, that energy gets amplified once you go on stage.
Yeah, hopefully.
We try to do that anyways. We try to get that picture out that we do the same shit live as we do on an album.
Yeah, and since most of our songs are pretty simple when it comes to the riffs and stuff.
Yeah.
And it could fall flat if the front of house sound is shitty. So it's a pretty nervous aspect of it. But we can play our shit and we will do it.
Yeah.
Once it's time.
Once it's safe. I have one more question for you guys, and that is, if you have this album in your hands, you have Nija in your hands, and you're trying to sell it to somebody, somebody who never heard of the band before, how would you define the album and the band in a simple way that you can get me to listen to it?
Do you want to hear the best band in the world?
No, but like, you want to hear some modern death Metallica?
Yeah.
Here's the shit.
I
don't know what to say.
agree with both of your takes, by the way.
I mean, it's always hard to sell your own stuff.
Yeah.
Like
without getting cocky about it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always hard.
If you like our stuff, it's brilliant. If you don't,
go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
I think
go fuck yourself.
I perhaps have a good line for you guys. If you ask me how to define Orbit culture, I would define your sound as a Jason Statham movie. So think about
like right.
Yeah, so
power to win.
Think about any of his movies. It's like a roller coaster ride. Like fighting scenes, violence, sex. Everything is there. So I think Orbit Culture is like a Jason Statham movie, but in music format.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I will bring that with me for sure.
Then
Yeah,
it's just
I
end
think that's
credits
awesome.
from Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
10 out of 10.
He's pretty metal. I mean, he looks like a pretty metal kind of guy. So I think,
Yeah.
you know, like think about the movie The Transporter, for example. You know, like that movie with your soundtrack. How badass would that be?
Yeah.
I mean, Jason Statham, does he even has to have like a soundtrack? I mean, it's that hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Just his breathing alone is heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for your time today. Sorry for the technical difficulties and my dumb assness about not pressing earlier. So I apologize for that, but congratulations on the new record. Once again, it's out August 7th on Seek and Strike. Go pick it up. Don't illegally download it. Don't be a moron. Go support these guys. Go buy the record. And one thing I can tell anybody that buys this album, they're not going to regret it. It's definitely worth the money, and it's a banger of an album from top to bottom. No soft songs, no skippable tracks.
Thank you, man.
Thank you, Pedro.
Thank
Really
you guys for
appreciate it.
taking the time.
Thank you. Have a nice day.